everybody. This is Gregory with 5-Minute Catholic Apologetics, where 5 minutes of your time may get you to the divine. Today, we're going to give some tips on dating, first date tips, and just overall tips for you single people. Now, before we begin, let's start with a prayer. Nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritui Sancti. Amen. Gloria Patri et Filii et Spiritui Sancto, secutor in principio et nunc et semper et saecula saeculorum. Amen. I recommend you check out the playlist that I have here on Catholic dating and Catholic marriage. And look, I'll tell you, dating is the most difficult it's ever been in human history. Up until about the Victorian era, only about 130 years ago, the concept of marrying for love was very foreign. In the past, families would set it up, matchmakers would set you up, and they were looking for other qualities. Love was not one of them. They didn't care if you loved the guy. If you ended up loving the guy, that's great. You still kind of see this in the vestigial Indian marriages, where they have a very low rate of divorce, and they just understand you're marrying because the families are both good, of equal socioeconomic value, their values are similar, they have good qualities, and so forth. And then you make it work. You fall in love post-vows. So this whole idea now of we fall in love, or we have to find somebody that we feel the pitter-patter, leads to a lot of problems. And then you look at the sex-positive movement and the sexual revolution, just all that nonsense. I mean, it's just fornication gone awry. You look at the breakdown of the family, so you have a lot of scarred people who are children of divorce, who are dating and marrying children of divorce. You look, that's exacerbated by no-fault divorce, where anybody can divorce anybody for any reason, and so it's rinse, lather, repeat. So what are some tips? Overall, I tell you this. The number one thing is only date a Catholic, and we have an episode here, and this is so important. I don't want to hear it, like, well, she's a Protestant and she's always yelling about how the Catholic Church is the Antichrist and hates the church. But, we'll get around that. The sex is good. A, you shouldn't be fornicating. B, it's not going to get around. Now, if it's somebody who's like, well, the Catholic Church is all right, I'm open to it. Okay, maybe. And there's always going to be comments, well, I married a Protestant and they converted. And that happens. But as a whole, you should only date a Catholic, because the whole point of dating is it's courtship to marriage. So don't be dating Protestants. There's no reason, because if anything, you might get sucked in and end up leaving your faith, which would be horrible for you. So only be on Catholic dating sites. The other thing is, look, I think there's different types of kind of like rubrics, and there are those who are very into relationships and very into commitment, and these people tend to pair up pretty quickly. So what you tend to have are two leftover groups. These are going to be people that are having problems in relationships. And it's not necessarily because of physical things, but it's because of their mindset. So one group is going to be the, I don't trust anybody, I've been hurt too long. I'm just, and so you see this kind of played out in some rom-coms, at the beginning of the relationship, it's great. And then they pull away when they start falling in love because they think the other person's going to dump them first. So you have these kind of non-committal, you're eventually going to leave me people. So you have that group there's a lot of those people. And then, of course, as the rom-coms would tell you, the other person will teach them how to love, and sometimes that happens. The other ones are going to be the psycho, cluster B, clingy, stage 5 clingers, like from the Wedding Crashers, type of people who are just, they have no boundaries, right? Those are the other problems. So you're dealing with a lot of those two if you're dating. Now, if you're in your 30s and 40s dating, you're going to see a lot of that. If you're like 21, you're still going to see a lot of the regular kind of no baggage people or overly clingy people, and you'll find just regular people with relatively good values, and those are the ones you should pair up with. Now, when it comes to actually dating, and I would tell you this, look, it's better to still meet organically. Coffee shop, at work, person to person, you get set up by family, friends. Online dating is just so artificial, and on so many levels, we really don't have time to spend it here on it, but it's not the best way. But let's say you do meet somebody, online or organically. Let's not do we're going to text for 4 weeks. You see this, I think, played out with guys. Guys need to be masculine, right? You're the leaders. So it's all kind of dictated by you most of the time. So once you find somebody that you think you might want to go on a date with that has good Catholic values, that's not sleeping around, that's not an alcoholic or has a drug problem, don't be getting to know, text message you for 3 weeks. No, especially for you men, set it up. Hey, let's meet up. Meet as soon as you can. Now, women, I understand stranger danger and so forth, but look, just meet in public, meet at a coffee shop, restaurant, park, something like that. And make it quick. Don't do the first date where it's an elaborate date, because you guys, it could be a foodie call and you might not ever see her again, and you just shelled out $100, $150. So just make it something quick, and maybe a coffee shop or at a park or some activity maybe meet at church or whatever. And then after that, look, if it doesn't work out, that's fine. I think ghosting, though, is just so insensitive. And I know a lot of people ghost because they're like, I don't want to hurt their feelings. And then more importantly, if they're the stage 5 clingers, they'll be texting you, well, why? What was wrong with me? I hate you. You're a horrible woman. And okay, I get it. But the best thing to do is if it didn't really work out, just tell them next day. And you maybe have gotten these messages or you've sent them. Just like, I don't think it's going to work out. You can come up with some cliche, but thank you for the day, and so forth. And if you get one of these, then you should respond by just saying, okay, I appreciate it. It was a great time. That's it. It's the simp men or the crazy women that will be like, what's wrong? Why not? Why not? You're shallow, superficial, whatever. So at that point, don't do that. And at that point, if you're the recipient of those messages, then you block them. Then it's okay to block them after that. But in general, I would tell you, look, dating's hard. And the number one thing you have to look at are values. They've done a lot of studies how Science of Sex Appeal is a great documentary on Discovery that they did like 15 years ago. But there's other studies where they'll like get college kids, they'll have them meet the first day of school and they'll rate everybody, and then they'll have, at the end of the year, they'll rate them again. And the most attractive people, of course, at the beginning will get the high ratings. But at the end of the semester, lots of times those ratings will change based on you getting to know them, their personality, and so forth. So we all know at the beginning, and you shouldn't, when you're dating to marry. Let's be real here. So obviously we all want to have the hot, handsome man if you're a woman, or the beautiful, young, fertile girl. But at the same time, you have to realize, where is your SMV? Know your SMV. If you're a 65-year-old dude, you're not going to get the 23-year-old unless you're Dennis Quaid. It just ain't going to happen. If you're a morbidly overweight woman, come on, you're not going to get whatever equivalent of Brad Pitt is. You're just not going to get it. So know your SMV and have realistic standards. Definitely. But you got to look at the values. And the values are the crucial things. Don't necessarily get caught up in this, because like they do in the studies, you will start being captivated and beguiled by their personality, by their other kind of innate qualities that you might not detect. That's not this. So be open. I think with men on first dates, it's like, if she isn't somewhat attractive, I'm not going to do a second date. I think women, though, it's a little more nuanced. So I would tell this to women. First date, maybe you didn't find him attractive, maybe you lied a little as pictures. We have an episode on that. Give him a chance, because women, though they want to be with attractive men, are able, their kind of endogenous wiring is that they're able to forsake looks for other qualities. You clearly see this every day when you see beautiful women with average to unattractive men, and typically those men have other qualities. So women, I would say, be a little more open-minded, and just second, third day. And look, on the second, third day, I would tell you, offer to pay, because again, you might not want this relationship to work and he's paying a lot of money. So at least alternate back and forth until you guys decide to date, and then you can, if you want to go tradcon, tradcath, gender roles, then he can pay, or whatever you guys decide to do later on. That's completely up to you. But guys, these are some tips. Number one thing is, again, men, be confident. Like on these first dates, laugh, make them laugh. Be interested, not as much as interesting. Don't be, oh, it's all about me. I'm going to tell you my story, how I did this, and you have all your stories laid out. No, be interested. And the girls, same thing. Talk to each other. Ask a lot of questions about the other person, because it shows that you're expressing interest. Don't make it about, oh, it's the Bob show, I'm just going to talk about Bob all the time. No. So men, be confident on your first date and in the text. Flirt a little. Show your wit, because that shows high IQ. But be manly. Be manly. And women, be feminine. Be girly. Be feminine. And just be open-minded. It's kind of like the siren song of online dating now. Like, as soon as you find one thing wrong with the person, you're like, psh, ghost, next person. And you're going to end up lots of times, and I'm not saying you should necessarily settle, but sometimes you're just going to end up with being alone because you have such high excessive standards. So lower your standards, but the number one standard must be a Catholic, preferably a traditional Catholic, preferably one who definitely believes in the indissolubility of marriage. That is the number one thing, and I mean a practicing Catholic. So if you meet organically at a coffee shop or bookstore, or you meet, at work, hey, I'm Catholic. What are you? Oh, I'm Catholic. Oh yeah, what parish do you go to? I haven't gone to church in a long time. practicing Catholic is the number one thing. And look, if they're a lapsed Catholic, maybe you will attract them back. And certainly dating a lapsed Catholic who hasn't been fully co-opted by the secularist world is better than dating an inveterate Catholic hating Protestant, or even worse, an atheist. I would, of course, don't date an atheist. But at the same time, just practice discernment and vet very well. Guys, post in the comments. Tell me what has been your dating experience. I would love to hear from you. Please hit the notification, subscribe, and share button. Share with like-minded people. Until next time, take care, God bless, and pray.